And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Pornhub.
What? That's in the, that's
sorry,
not even
so
the
you're right.
song for that, is it?
Yeah,
Does
it is.
that have a song?
Yeah, it has. Every video starts with.
Oh. Shows how much I watch it.
Yeah.
Scowl.
Anyway. So anyway.
Videos is another thing. I don't know how.
Yep.
Another thing.
What?
Welcome back to the podcast. Two guys and the blonde, and she is finally getting somewhere.
Almost blonde, guys.
Yeah.
Almost blonde.
It's like light brown at the moment.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is a lot better than wherever you were.
Yeah.
What?
Wherever you are.
Yeah.
You
wherever
didn't
were.
like my red hair?
No, I liked it, but it just doesn't work with the aesthetic of the podcast.
Yeah. And it screamed Karen. Come on, Cass. It screamed like Karen.
Oh dear, and ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the podcast. We'll never see you again. It's now cancelled.
Cancelled. Cancelled, guys.
I'm getting cancelled in an hour, guys.
Yeah.
Literally
Hashtag
getting
Rachel
canceled.
Fox
You're
in
getting
the-
canceled in 5
comments.
minutes. 5 minutes.
Anyway,
My God, that's
we are back
funny.
this week talking about conspiracy theories, unexplained mysteries, unsolved mysteries, part 2 of part 20 million, because there's like 20 million of them. Anyway, Miss Cassie over there is the one who seems to have a lot of suggestions. So come on, Cass, hit us with the first one. Let's get
All right,
down
I'll
to
hit you
business.
with the first one. So we'll bring it back to growing up. Bigfoot was the thing to talk about. Bigfoot.
Was it?
So
I've got big
yeah.
feet, but they call me a hobbit, not Bigfoot.
Well, that's because you're too short for the big feet you have.
God damn you.
So dramatic.
I know, right? So growing up, I remember like hearing stories, like people would talk about it at school. I do remember like as a young kid at recess, we would like look in the woods and be like, oh my God, do you see it? Like the branches moved. He's got to be over there. Even though we had no idea like where he was supposed to be. He was just like wherever we are. This is like the same feeling I have with like the aliens. Whereas like we don't really know what's out there or like how big an animal can get. Or like is Bigfoot actually just a gigantic bear? I don't know. I don't know what it is. But there has to be something. Because when we were young, just like with the Loch Ness Monster, was there really enough like editing to be done about like the pictures and the videos of like this weird stuff that happened? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, one, you said we don't know how big animals get. I mean, have you not seen like an elephant or like a blue whale or
I mean,
like a dinosaur, you know?
I do know how big animals get, but you know, we don't know all the species of animals, just like in the ocean. And have we explored every inch of a forest, every single forest in America or in the country? No, we haven't. So we don't really know exactly every animal that dwells there. They find new species of animals every day.
Well, I was going to say there's like there's an animal called the okapi, which is like a half zebra, kind of half horse sort of looking thing. It's got like stripy legs.
Did you say zebra?
Yeah.
I wanted to pronounce that too because I will say
Did you
zebra
say
instead of
zebra?
zebra.
Yes, zebra because it's got one E.
It's a single.
If it was zebra, then it would have two E's. So it's a zebra. Anyway, back to the thing.
Wait.
Hey Siri.
Yeah,
How
I
do you
know.
pronounce zebra?
It's American, so it's going to say zebra.
She won't even do it. It's
See?
displayed on my iPhone.
Anyway.
Hold on.
Oh, God.
Pronunciation. Why won't it let me click it? Oh,
This is anyway. So
Anyway.
the Okapi, they thought went extinct back in like 1914, 17 or something like that. I think it might have been a little bit earlier. And then in like 1985 or something, they suddenly like found them again. And they suddenly then realized there was like 5,000 of them. So they weren't actually as in danger, or, you know, they thought they went extinct, and then they actually found there was quite a lot of them. So it's even possible to think that something's gone extinct and actually then find it, you know, 60 years later or whatever. So Bigfoot, the problem is the Bigfoot is generally like a North American thing, I believe.
States that it was in, what was it again?
Wasn't
Like
it like
Oregon.
Washington or
It was in
something?
Oregon.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was around the Oregon Trail. It says, not specifically where.
Yeah. Because I always kind of wonder is, I always think the Yeti is more like
Oh, yeah.
plausible, but I think they're almost like the same thing, if that makes sense. Just like, you know, a bit like a polar bear to a grizzly bear or something, you know what I mean? Like they're still both bears, but they just live in different climates or different parts of the world. Because I think the Yeti is a bit like it's a bigger area, which I don't think we've explored. North America, it's an odd one. Don't get me wrong. I think it's certainly possible. But I just kind of think that how busy the US is, I almost feel like there would have been something a bit more. I certainly watched something. I guess I think it was this Destination Truth thing. They were in Nepal or whatever, looking at the Yeti, and they certainly managed to get a like fur extract from something which they people said was like, you know, a Yeti's head or something. I can't remember. And when they took it to a science lab, that certainly the scientists said they couldn't quite get like the full genetic like makeup of it, but it certainly didn't match anything on record, which makes you kind of wonder, well, you know, is there some sort of bigger gorilla or whatever? I don't know.
If I look at the photo, it looks like a big gorilla.
Yeah.
But do you really do you really think there's multiple Yeti, right? Are there multiple Bigfoots then, and we only saw one? Or is it just one species that gone extinct until like just one, until there's one left?
Well,
And
they didn't
that's what we
find
call
any,
Bigfoot?
right? So like that died. Whereas like
No.
an animal has to be discovered for it to then be extinct, so we know what it is. To know
Yeah, but
that there was like many of them.
Yeah, but for the same fact, if like an animal dies and it will go into like it will lay into the wild, it will either burn up or will be eaten alive. So we wouldn't know if it died. So can it be the same with a Bigfoot? I don't know. Maybe they're like cannibals and eat their own, like a lot of animals seem to do as well. I don't know.
That's actually a good point, thinking about it, which I'd never thought about, is if these animals existed, why have we never found fossils of them? I hadn't actually ever thought about that, and literally until you were kind of talking about, like, you know, evidence of them, and I just went, oh, actually, that's a really good point of surely
Maybe
we
they're
would have found.
cannibals and eating their own. That can be too.
Yeah.
But there surely would have been one that died, and
yeah,
that
well, and
was
you would expect to
returned.
find, even if they ate their own, that there'd be some sort of bone somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, we haven't explored everything, and we do find new dinosaurs every year, whatnot, so it could be possible. I don't know.
Still called dinosaurs, or are we calling them animals now instead of the dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs.
We call them dinosaurs. Why would we call them anything else?
Because you said they were discovered now, like the animals are discovered now, or the things are discovered now.
Dinosaurs.
If they're alive, we call them animals, and we're from like the past, we call them dinosaurs, right? If they're extinct.
Well, I'm no,
Only
I'm
dinosaurs.
I'm considering.
Where does that line cross?
I'm considering I'm considering dinosaurs more like 65 million years ago when the comet hit. That's like before then is dinosaurs. That's what I mean. You know, every year they're like finding something which is brand new, you know, which we've not seen before.
So maybe in like 2,000 years, we call the animals that go extinct now
Yeah, it
dinosaurs
could
as
be.
well.
Yeah, maybe. Never know. I mean, we always say that crocodiles are living dinosaurs because they came from that sort of age as well. Same as sharks.
Yeah, but they ascended from like a worse being. If I've looked at it.
Yeah. Big.
Yeah, the thing for me, Bigfoot is so much of a conspiracy theory for me that I don't believe it's true.
Hmm.
Because there can't be like one animal running around for over 100 years, still be alive, having no ascendants, and just been on camera once or twice.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing is like, it's just, is it being mistaken for something else? So, how do I explain that? Like you get like sloth bears. So is it actually a sloth bear or something? You know, because there was like giant sloth bears in kind of Central America some time ago, which they think they've gone extinct. So is that the same case of maybe it's just that they haven't gone extinct and people are seeing that? Maybe they've gone further north. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing that I read like somewhere. There's like 85% of like the animal kingdom not discovered. They only discovered like 15% of the animals that live there.
Yeah.
So we won't basically know if there's like even animals living in the ice, in like an Arctic or in something else, or underground in a hill, under the water, in the sky that we really can't see. I don't know. I that's like the beauty of nature, I think, and that's why we sometimes need to keep like the ecosystem alive the way it is. I don't really wanna start a fight with like a Bigfoot creature. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Because I looked at that thing, and if that thing's real, we are
Yeah.
doomed. If it finds a city, just saying, we can get that down with tranquilizers. No freaking shot.
Nah, it'd be easy. Just give it whatever you give an elephant.
It just goes back up instantly. It just goes back up.
That's something,
Yeah.
and then she laughed. By the way, just saying. She's
I had to
crazy.
keep muting because there's people here.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I had to keep
I know.
muting.
So come on then,
Yeah,
Cass.
those-
You're the one who's
You
got
want me to
everything.
go
Yeah,
again?
yeah. Come on.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna save the best one last, I think. This one I just came up today. So I'm kind of interested in how you guys feel. So I know that we've all
Hey, you're cutting out, Cass.
I know we've all seen the movie Charlie and the Giant. And we've maybe read the book. Maybe. I
Seen
don't
the
think
film.
I read the book. No, I've seen the movies. But this one says Willy Wonka is the version of Saw.
The
Is it what? Version of Saw?
children's version of Saw.
Saw, yeah, like the movie Saw. It says people
That's a
believe
good
that
one.
Willy Wonka was actually a serial murdering
killer.
all of the kids on the tour one by one. This also says that Wonka led Charlie to kill himself through the insanity of knowing that the taken place without him knowing, and that's why they flew away at the end. What do you think about that?
I mean,
that makes something darkish.
yeah.
Right? Super dark.
That blows my mind, but it can be freaking true.
Right?
Like the
Think
Olivia
about
character that blows up when she eats
Yes.
like
all the
candy.
blue stuff? Yeah.
Then
And
the
they
one
all
that fell.
disappear. You never see them at the end.
Oh shit!
Creepy, right? Oh my god.
Yeah, I never thought about
Then
that.
I have another one
I
Harry
didn't
Potter
either.
related to,
Ooh.
but
Voldemort was real.
I mean, it wasn't a real movie, right? Like the movie, was the movie like
No.
or no?
I think it's weird that it could be like possible though. That's freaking.
Did Saw take
You just blew
influence
my
from
mind.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
I'm like literally going crazy right now. I blew my own mind when I read. What? Everything I learned as a child is fake. It's all fake.
Well, I mean, that's
Let
the
me
same with like all the like Disney movies, isn't it? In terms of they're actually like really dark, kind of like meanings behind
Yes.
them.
What
Yeah,
about
the
the
older
Wizard
ones
of
are.
Oz?
Mm.
Wizard of
Mhm.
Oz with all the political stuff behind it too.
Have you seen like the
Crazy.
original Brothers of Grimm, Red Riding Hood, where she really gets eaten by the wolf instead of like escaping from it?
Mm.
I don't know if
Like
I've ever seen that one.
the original tales of the Brothers Grimm are all dark.
Yeah.
Are all dark tales, and they rewrote it to like kids versions. But the original ones that are still on the internet will blow your mind. I will, if you have some time, please look into that because it's really the opposite way or what really happens in children's books. To be honest,
Think about Hansel and Gretel. Like that
Yeah.
story
Yeah.
actually creeped me out as a kid. Even
Yeah.
though it was supposed to be like a kid's story, it made me have nightmares. Like that's scary. Like this lady was like fattening these kids up to eat them. Like what is going on? And parents would tell their kids that as like a bedtime. It was like something, that kids listen to. That's just crazy.
it's the same as Rapunzel, right? She gets kidnapped, put in a tower, and then just forced to leave down there
Yeah, but have you
until like
ever
the
seen
prince rescues
Tangled? It's
them.
amazing.
Tangled is
It's
good, yeah.
the best movie ever.
But what I wanted to say is that there's a theory on the internet because I really like Harry Potter. Is that J.K. Rowling secretly is, if you've watched Harry Potter, you will know, is Rita Skeeter the Daily Prophet writer. So she um, discovered it from her perspective, looking at Harry, and then made a book out of it later on. So the magical world is real, and her pseudonym is really Rita Skeeter in the movies. And I thought, like, well, if that's true, like even one bit's true, then that's weird though that there's a whole world out there that's like magical and that we don't know of. Dumbledore, please give me my letter, man. I need one.
There has to be like, so this always made me wonder as a kid, like how do people come up with these things? And what I had read over the years is that at some point in all of the history of witches, wizards, vampires, all of that stuff, there was something that happened that pointed to that was a possibility. And so people ran with it and made stories of it and things like that. Well, we already know Transylvania was a real place and there was a guy there.
Like the Impaler.
But right, like, so some of these stories have like real truth to them. So how couldn't it be true? Like,
Would
there
you
has
like
to be something.
my question is really, would you really want to know if stuff like vampires is real?
I mean, have you
I
ever
don't
seen True Blood? Yes, I would definitely want to know.
have you ever seen Blade Runner? Heck no.
Yep.
The first episode. That's all I have to say. First episode.
Have you
That's
ever seen
yes.
Dave
That's a
C?
yes.
Heck no. I don't
Yeah.
want to know if vampires are real.
I don't know.
I mean, but if they are real, they're not like, these like monstrous blood-sucking murderers. They've got to be like the vampire.
They're sparkly
guys,
ones from
Yeah,
Thailand.
no, that is just a joke. No, it's like the Vampire Diaries vampires, where they like they're. I mean,
Yeah.
they figure it out. Clearly, we're not having like mass deaths and like people's throats being ripped out. But in the Vampire Diaries, he was called the Ripper because he did that. Well, there was a.
Yeah, Stefan was, right? Yeah.
Right. So, like,
Yeah.
that story right there is a truth that they took and made a vampire out of it. But what if he actually.
The same thing. What's real? What if that's real and vampires can mind control, so we never know if they've killed in front of us?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know. It's just crazy.
My favorite theory like one of my favorite conspiracy theories is that we all live in a matrix and we're just a simulation to get billionaires like ready or do something to the world to improve because we're basically controlled by a computer program. How weird would that fucking be
That's
if
like
we
the
are?
Maze Runner, right? Like, except we're in like a whole world simulation versus a small stadium like puzzle maze, right?
I guess
That's
it's a
like the
bit.
same
Yeah,
thing.
but
It's a bit like we're. It's a, almost as if we're. There's a J.K. Rowling, somewhere out there, and actually we're just a story that they're writing. It's
Yeah.
kind of
deep
same
on
sort of
so
thing.
many. It's like deep on so many
Yeah,
levels because
Right.
because if you think of it, it will really drive you mad too. Because you like, if that shit's real, I don't know who to trust anymore because you don't have a free will at all.
Somebody
Everything's written.
so my seventh grade teacher, I'll never forget this class. My seventh grade teacher was a theorist, like 1,000%. You knew second, right? So every time we would do anything in class, he would ask us questions like, "Are you actually doing that right now, or are you just remembering?" And it was literally like so wrenching every you because the one time he was literally like, "What if you are 80 years old and you're in a nursing home right now and everything that you're feeling is actually
it's all
you're
just dream.
just remembering what happened."
Oh yeah, memory.
It's
That's
just like
yeah.
insane. Insane.
That's like weird, right?
I
What
know.
if when you die, your life flashes in front of your eyes, and that's what you remember right now?
Mm. Oh yeah, yeah.
But
That's
That's
you're
true.
only building up towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's a deep one too, but it's like a conspiracy theory
yeah.
too. That you're reliving it, but you're reliving it when you're dying in like 5 seconds, but you go
Right.
back from
But
birth
it
to now.
feels longer, yeah. Well, they also said like you could be, you know how they say you see the light at the end of the tunnel when you die, but then they say, well, what if that's actually the light when you so you're just like recycling.
Mm.
That's the only thing I don't know why, but I don't, I really believe in, not believe really in a god or anything, but the only thing I believe in is reincarnation and
Yeah.
how you did in your future or your past life to get back into your like future life. Um, and I think that's a good thing because I can't see how this life would end and then not start another one.
Right. It's just
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
over. Yeah.
I can't like fathom my head around it that it's done after like 100 years and then you're like gone forever. I
Right.
don't think you become in paradise because there's like trillions of people died before me. Like if it's
Right.
not more, way more. So how could there be space for me? It isn't fucking infinite. In my head. So it's
Right.
like that's the only outcome is that you're living again. Like you
Mm.
may spend life in paradise for like a couple of years, but then go back to like living as a creature, doormat, whatever the fuck you
Yeah.
want it to be.
Do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I used to babysit my cousin, like my aunt's son, who's not like my blood aunt, but he would say the weirdest stuff when he was little, like 3 or 4 years old. He would say like, "Oh, where's my other mom?" And like things like weird stuff like that. And so my aunt would like research and she would like look into stuff and just read theory stuff. And a lot of what she read was that when you're young like that, you remember like both of those lives from past life to now. And so you'll remember things like your other mom or whatever. But then as you get older, you start to forget them from your last life. So I don't know if you saw the dog movie, A Dog's Purpose, where the dog literally grows up, dies, is reincarnated as another dog, and it just keeps going on until he finds his original owner. Like that was his whole purpose in life was to go through. That's what I kind of look at like with this information. He remembered the whole time who his original parent like family was and he was searching for them. But what if we can only remember for so long, and then our new memories just push out old?
I don't know if this is true.
Scal's gonna explode.
Yeah.
But, but I really believe that you're getting with the same people you are now, but other physical bodies and other like qualities. But it's the same set of situations now. So your mom can actually be your sister, like later on, and your late cousin can be your mom for some reason. So the connection you have with them can be switched, but you're
Mm.
still like with the same people, but in another life. If you know what I mean? And you meet a lot of people, but then you meet a lot of people in general during a day. What's still, this is like off topic a bit, but when you're having a dream or a nightmare, you sometimes don't recognize the people that you see in your dream or nightmare, right? You physically do because you see them. Your brain like connects that you've seen the people that are in your dream or nightmare, but you can remember because they walk by for like 4 seconds, but your brain actually visualizes them like 100% correct. Isn't that weird? that we only use like what is it, 5 or 10% of our
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
brain capacity?
Did you see that movie? What was it called? Limitless with
Yeah,
Burr?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Oh my
I've seen
god,
that one.
that
Yeah.
was like completely crazy. Could you imagine if we could unlock 100% of our brain power? Like,
I think you will get crazy. I think sometimes it's
yeah,
good that we do not use like everything that we own
Is that the
because
one
you
where
will
he
literally be.
takes the pill, or like?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And all of a sudden, like, it's just
Mm.
insanity.
Which is actually based off a real drug.
Yeah.
Which one?
I can't remember what it's called. For I want to call it. It's like for daffodil or something like that. I can't remember what exactly is, but it's
It's a kind of flower, right? You
yeah,
know that one?
exactly. That's why I'm
Yeah, yeah.
like
Daffodil's definitely a flower.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was called
But it's a real drug that you can take, and it helps you like memorize.
Nuvigil. Nuvigil?
Nuvigil? Oh.
Yeah. That's what it's called.
I didn't know that. But
Yeah.
like I think you will get mad like
Mm.
crazy in your head when you use like more of your brain capacity.
Yeah. It's
Well,
too much.
because you would start to think about things like this. Like,
Yep.
what if all of a sudden you start remembering like past lives? You
I
start
I,
remembering things that you forgot.
I want to
Trauma,
bring in
things like that.
I want to bring a new theory in. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory, but what if people that are in a nut house actually unlock more of their brains, so they're actually not crazy, but we think they are?
Mm.
Yeah, like the people that see
Yeah.
ghosts and stuff.
What if they could actually see it, but we think it's
Yeah.
easier to put them away,
Yeah.
to lock them away? That's what I'm scared of sometimes too. When I'm acting crazy, that somebody will pick me up, put me in like an asylum, and say, "Well, you're crazy now. Go and have a merry fucking day." And then I'll be there for like 40 years,
Yep.
trying to explain that I'm not.
Right.
Do you know what? This just reminded me. Have you ever watched the movie Identity?
Yes, I love that movie.
No.
Oh.
And it's all in that serial killer's head, and he like. I'm not
Yep.
gonna spoil it, but yeah. It's got. Is it
Just like
gone?
Lost.
Is it
Lost
got?
too.
Yeah.
It was on Netflix actually recently.
All right. Okay.
Identity.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll try to
You
watch
should
it.
watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's like one of Paul's favorite movies.
Mm.
It's really good.
It's Daddy KP's favorite
Yeah,
movie. It's one of
that's
mine.
it.
I remember that was like one of the very first movies this together. Like, I want to watch you watch this. And I'm like, oh my God, why? And then I watched him. Wow, like that's
Mm.
insane. But that's one of those movies where it talks like it is like this. Like
Yep.
it's eye-opening, mind-blowing, just like crazy.
That's what I really have with V for Vendetta too. Where I
Yeah.
was like, he's so stuck against the system that he's doing everything in his power to like revoke and revolt against the system, that it really blew my mind in a good way, not in a like I'm going to blow up like my city
Yeah.
hall right now kind of way. Um, but like so selfish. And I really think that it's strange that we only use like I don't know the exact percentage,
Yeah,
but
it's a really
like a
small
short
percent.
amount of our brains. And like people that have a higher IQ obviously have bigger unlock the bigger part of their brain.
Mhm.
We do not have a set amount. I think that's what it is too. What if that is like based off a stage or level in your life? Like when you come back a certain times, you remember more
Yeah.
and more, so you're smarter than before.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
actually, people who are like having a 180 KD, yeah, IQ,
Someone's been playing Call of Duty too
IQ,
much.
Yeah, a
yeah,
little bit, a little
IQ,
bit.
180 IQ are just coming back way more and more and more smarter than they were before.
Mhm.
That's true.
Possible.
Am I going crazy right now? Don't pick me up, officer.
Maybe.
Don't pick me up.
Do it, do it, do it.
So
Well,
can I interject and
yes,
sorry and take this
please.
onto a new one, if that's
If
all
it's
right.
the one that I wanted to talk about, I'm gonna murder you.
So what? I suspect not, because I forgot I was going to bring this one up. But
Okay.
it's kind of similar to the last episode where we discussed about 9/11.
Okay.
Did the CIA kill JFK?
Yes, 1000%. So you know how we talked about 9/11, how we were like they would kill that many people?
Yeah.
I 1000% believe they would kill 1000%. Abraham Lincoln, yes, yes. Getting rid of slaves, oh yeah, everybody wanted him dead. Also JFK. Who else got assassinated as president? Definitely government.
But why do you believe that 9/11 wasn't an inside job and JFK was then? What is the difference between that?
Because JFK dying wasn't like I guess a national emergency, whereas 9/11 was literally just insane, insane. JFK
Wasn't it
was
like
so bad.
JFK was a general good president and that
He was.
9/11
He
costed
was.
way more lives?
Well, the
That's what it
problem
was.
with JFK was that he did what he needed to do. Like he was a good president because he was a good person on top of being a good president. So, yeah, if he couldn't comply to what everybody else in government, what are they going to do to get him out? Well, they're going to murder him. That's the only solution. If they can't make somebody do what they want, they just murder.
Can
That's
I
it.
twist this for you and say, what if the government wanted a way to get more money and
Well,
then
yeah,
decided to blow up the World Trade Center
but
to
I
get
said
the
I don't
oil
want to
dump
hear it.
and then decided to take one hundreds of lives just to get oil rights?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
As I said, possible.
Yeah.
Just fingers crossed it
I
wasn't.
started,
Right.
fingers crossed it wasn't, but I started to believe my theory
No,
way
yeah.
more and more.
Do
I'm
you think
sorry,
that
guys.
book exists? You know, in the National Treasure movie, where they go to the like the special and there's a book with all of the secrets
Yeah, the
of
Book of
like
Secrets. Yeah.
past presidents and stuff. Do you think that actually exists? I feel like where would they get the idea for that if that's not an actual
I mean,
thing?
the thing is, I don't know whether there's like a. I don't want to say there's necessarily like a book as such, but of course there are like millions of top secret files which have been stored. You know, and that's not just US; it's UK, it's Netherlands, whatever. There is always something there which is being kept confidential. I'm sure it's. As I said, I don't think it's like someone. I don't think someone's like put it together into like one book, but I think it's like in a. Well, it's probably in more than one filing cabinet, but you know, in a filing cabinet, and it's like JFK,
Right.
9/11. Yeah, you just like pull out. I wonder how they would categorize that.
What is that library again in Ireland, Skel, where it's like the oldest library in the country? Oh,
Don't
wait,
know.
I'll look it up. The
So, Stell, do you think that JFK was
Do I think he was assassinated?
well by the government, not just?
Uh,
Because clearly he was assassinated.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I think
By the way,
personally. Sorry.
the Book of Wells.
Oh,
That's where the
I've read that
library.
before. It's quite deep. Book of Wells, as in like a water well, deep.
I heard.
Oh, beep, 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 beep. We are done for
It just landed right. It just landed right now. I was like thinking. I was like looking at my second monitor, and I was like, okay. That was really funny, actually.
No, don't egg him on.
It was. It was. I will egg him on anyway. I can.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. So I do. Yeah, I do think the CIA got rid of him. I don't know who. I don't know. It's always. I kind of always find of a weird one is like who made the order, but I know people always say the CIA is actually
in charge.
Yeah, in charge rather than the president. People think it's the president, but he's just effectively like the face, and it's actually people.
That's the problem with our country is people know how it works, where the president really doesn't have. He's just the figurehead that can say, okay, yeah, let's do that. Or, no, I don't want to do that. Like, people growing up think, oh, the president makes the laws. Everything's the president's fault. Not everything's the president's fault. There are cabinets of people underneath of him who make the decision. It's just insane.
The thing that I want to sidetrack on, do you think, like, if that's the truth, which is, like, I believe in that too, by the way, that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated for the same reason as John F. Kennedy was?
I think that, and I think Abraham Lincoln for the same reason too. Because they're all connected.
We're too good for the system.
Yeah.
Because there were too many changes happening at one time for the country at that point. For like the South, they didn't want that. They wanted to keep the slaves. They wanted to keep everything. And by Abraham Lincoln and by Martin Luther King Jr. stepping up, by Rosa Parks stepping up, people saying like this is right, they just screwed everybody that had slaves, had plantations, farms, and things like that. So there had to be somebody in government that was like, oh, we're gonna Palpatine this shit, and we're gonna just rebel against Abraham Lincoln, and we're just gonna.
Can you elaborate on the Palpatine thing, because not everyone has seen Star Wars that it's listening this?
Go watch Star Wars.
Palpatine
was what was he? He was the
Emperor.
Emperor. Yeah. So he's the emperor, and he was great guy. Reality. He's a freaking Sith leader. He's over here. Anakin, come here. I can teach you the good things. No, I'm going to teach you how to be evil and take over. And he did.
So basically what Cassie said before she cut off like a lot of the time, Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars is the main character that was on the light side, and he got like brought in by the Emperor Palpatine, which is like a consular in the regiment, like in the thing. What is it, regiment? Yeah, it was in the order.
Yeah,
it was in the normal order. And then he turned to the bad side, so the dark side or the Sith side. And then Anakin joined, and then he became Darth Vader. I don't want to spoil more. It's a gruesome story. Go watch it if you like it. But that's the explanation.
Spoiled it! You told them who became Darth Vader!
Everyone fucking should know by this point, right?
No, not everybody knows.
I thought it was only like the snowman.
It's like 30 years ago by this point. What do you mean? Come on. But I was looking into like the Martin Luther King thing because I really think it's the same thing, but it's all based again on money. So in that theory, if you think about it, in that theory, would it be really weird if they like if they arranged like 9/11 to happen like this because of the money?
No, and that's what we were saying was that it's just the fingers crossed it's not, but of course it like it's such a like difficult one because it's like it's definitely not out of the possibilities of it happening. Because they went into Afghanistan first to get rid of bin Laden, did that therefore give them the what's the word I'm looking for, maneuverability, the strategic position to then go into Iraq and get the oil fields, which are now primarily owned by British and American oil companies, of course. But
but I want to run something through you, and this is
whoa.
unexpected because we didn't talk about this earlier.
Whoa.
But I was talking to my best friend's mom the other day, and she was like, Putin really looks bad on the news. So she said, and I want to hear your guys' opinion about this too. Is Putin sick beyond repair? Like is he dying? And is he doing like the fool trying to get back to the USSR because he doesn't give a shit? Because he's dying anyways? Because I've looked at him in a recent picture and he looks like he's dying too. He's like terminal. I don't know why.
I think that's because they banned Botox in Russia. I think that's what that is. I don't think he's sick. I think he's the same thing that happens with
sick of losing against the Ukraine.
No, I think he's what's the word I'm looking for? The problem is my dad said this, so I can give him credit. Everyone who is in power for some considerable time, it goes to their head. I think it's gone to his head. During COVID, or the pandemic, whatever, he wasn't speaking to many people, so he ended up being on his own or had very few advisors who were kind of, I think, more the extreme ones. And I think that whole kind of thing has allowed him to just go, you know what, screw it, I'm going to test the West.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that he's going to get it sounds bad, but kind of away with it, as in no one's going to just go, right, yeah, we're going to march in. He knows that China and whatever India are going to back him for a little bit. I think
they did not. China said back off. It's not winnable. That's what they said. They are not. They told Putin to back off early this week.
Yeah, well, the problem is they've always said that they what did they say? They contradicted themselves because they said they agree on Russia's Russia should be able to get back their heritage or something like that. But then they said also we do believe that borders should be kept as they have been for the last 40 years. It's like, wait, can't make up your mind.
But the last 40 years, Ukraine has been independent for 22.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly,
so
or whatever.
They could mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question about
conspiracy theory. Yeah.
I have a question about that. So, with recent events and things within the last 3 to 4 years that have happened in the states, in the country, in the world, I'm pretty sure that the media is what drives everything. And if I see a picture of Putin, I don't know if I 1,000% believe even what I see anymore anywhere, because the media has changed so many things and distorted things. And it's like, stuff comes out slowly and you're like, that was taken. So it's just like, do I believe that that's true? And I don't think I do anymore, because I don't trust the media to give me the news that I 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Let me tell you this statement once and for all, in my opinion. I think the news is there to control the population for their good or their bad, because if you always comply bad news, people will start to freaking riot, and then a country will be in shambles. So I think the news is a really controllable substance in a country, and it's a foremost controllable substance in a country, because you don't want mass hysteria in like times of war, because everyone will have problems. So I really think that, like, I don't trust the news per se. I just think it's a good tool to keep people happy to what they want, and that's a thing too. Like, we don't need to forget that if we only do research of our own, like 99% of people are sheep. They listen to what the news says. And the other 1%, like I think all three of us do, is like, if we want to know something, we are looking up the differences, and we are looking up like the multiple news feeds, or looking up the backstory about it to know more about it. But for me, sometimes that's really not the way I want it to be, so I get in my head. So I really get the influence on media, because it's like getting people happy in a sense, so they don't start to riot.
Uh,
At the other end, yeah.
the thing with the media is, like, I agree with Cass that you never know, because same with like history books. You read a history book in Russia about the war compared to the US, and it's two completely different stories. One paints one bad, and the other one paints the other one bad. But you know, I think back to, I think it was summer last year, if I remember correctly. Might have been a little bit later actually. Yeah, it was probably like September, October sort of time last year. The media in the UK did this story about how we were running out of petrol. So everyone then started panicking, queuing up for like 2-3 hours, draining all the petrol. The petrol prices went up, all this. Now, I actually knew that what they were not running out of it. It was just obviously because of lorry drivers and stuff trying to, being off sick and blah blah blah, whatever. They weren't filling the pumps up to like the normal 90% or something. They were just doing it to 50% so that they could get around everywhere. So nowhere was out of petrol. It's just that they were topping it up to a lower level. Now the media ran with it, and I was like, but it's been like that for about 18 months. Why have you only just picked this up? And now why have you caused, like, there were certain areas of the UK for like 2 weeks just did not have petrol because they could not get anything. And you got people like putting a bloody pump into like a plastic bag or whatever, and then put it in the back of their car. You're like, what the hell is this?
I think media on this is the most powerful tool at all, and that's why I think stuff like that really causes mass hysteria too. Because of like the war, we are like the Netherlands are getting into a crisis in the upcoming months, and that's purely because people think everything will be more expensive. So they don't spend everything, and that's why we get a crisis, because nobody wants to spend money on something, so everything will get more expensive, and then it will not be affordable anymore, so they can't spend money on it. That's what it is. We're all doing it ourselves, and that's like where the media is like influencing the wrong kind of way, I feel like.
I also feel like you're telling the truth when you like there's so much information that people just a lot of us just believe what you hear first and run with it. And instead of that, like I know at least the three of us, there's three, and your extra personality. Four of us. We
Yeah, not
like
really.
question things, like question everything. Like I don't think that that's true, or I'm not sure. I'm gonna check up.
Yeah.
And people don't do that. People don't do that with voting. People don't do that with medical information. Literally nothing. Even down to leasing a car, doing your research on how much it'll cost you in the end. People don't research. They hear something and they go with it. And TikTok being as big as it is, people are just telling whatever they want on. Other people are agreeing with it, and then people, that's what's happening. So how do we know that's what is actually happening? Unless you see it with your own eyes, you don't. It's
Yep.
insane.
It's the same as if I think there's so much bad in this world too that I don't really want to know of. that I'm just not watching the news. I do not have a TV subscription.
I was about to
I
say, if you just
Yeah,
stopped there, I
Netflix.
don't
I
have a
do
TV. I
have
was
literally
like, you have
there's
one,
a
I can see
TV
it.
right there.
but I do not have a subscription because I don't really watch TV anymore, and I don't watch it for the news. I can watch everything back, or I'll just rent a movie or watch a movie on Netflix on my computer. I don't really mind. It's like I think it's too overwhelming to want to know everything, but if I want to know something, I will definitely look it up because I don't really trust mainstream media. I don't really trust the internet either on some point, so I really try and see like the differences between articles and like compare the things that are like mostly the same.
Mm.
Do I think like media is not needed? Yes, it's needed because you have like the
Oh, yeah.
99% of sheep, which will be in a good place because they get told that it's right or that something's wrong. It's fine. Because if you have like 100% of people questioning things, that will not be a good thing either.
Mhm.
So you need people that are sheep and you need people that are questioning things. That's the way it is. That's what my grandfather always said. You need herders and you need sheep, and you have way more sheep than a herder because you have like 99 sheep. Sheep.
Yep. Sheps.
And
Yeah.
sheps. And that's an inside joke, by the way. And one herder. So that's
Yeah.
what it is. And I really think mainstream media is like, it's weird, but we need it to keep the people happy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And talking about sheeps, Cass is going to give
Yes.
us our last
Your last one.
conspiracy
Are you
theory for the
ready
day.
for me to blow your mind? Are you ready?
No.
Yeah, blow me every day.
This is my TikTok page, and I don't know how this happened, but like at some point I liked this came up, and I was like, "What?" And then I started researching because that's what I do. So let me just ask you the question: do you think that because certain events are remembered differently from your past, that there are multiple universes that you could be living? Let me give you an example because it looks like you're confused. So, think about the Chuck E. Cheese symbol from your childhood.
We don't.
You don't
I
know what
have
that
one.
is.
Don't have Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, don't think about that one. Think
That's
about
really
Oh,
American,
do you
though.
mean? Hold on. Do you mean the what's it called? Mandela Effect or whatever it is?
yes. Yes.
Where you think?
So
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember some of the like main ones.
So it was like Jif and Jiffy peanut butter. Oscar Mayer versus Oscar like with an E, Mayer.
Well, it's like people think it's Luke, I am your father, but it's not.
Yes, it's not. It is. I just saw this one. It is. So it said people think it's Luke, I am your father. No, I am your father.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this TikTok I came across said something like asked a question and it said, do you remember growing up, you read the Berenstain Bears books as a kid? Was this the book title you remember? And it held it up as the Berenstein. And it said, is it actually Berenstain? I was like, what? So I went through. Well, it was funny because at the same time, Tim the Tatman was doing it on his stream. He was doing like some of these things and he would like flash a picture and he was, well, you're wrong because it was actually this. Could it possibly be that we are living in, yes, we know it's called the, said that. Could we be living in multiple universes? And at some point, one of the theories was that during Y2K, that we switched into a separate universe versus the one that we were in, because I was growing up before. When was that? I was like, I think I was end of middle school. What year was Y2K?
Y2K. Oh,
You don't even know
the
what
year
that is?
2000. I assume you mean.
Okay, so the year 2000. Yeah, maybe that would make. The year 2000. So I was in middle school. I was in 8th grade. So everything up until that, I remember clearly,
That's
and
one
it's
thing.
not the same. Not the same. What do you think?
Yeah, that's like a thing that I can't really wrap my head about, like multiple
Especially right now,
universes.
when the
Yeah.
egg world.
No, no, no. It's like I'm thinking still about the whole "Luke, I'm your father" thing. I think that's because it's like mainstream set that it's
Yeah.
like "Luke, I am your father." Do
Another.
I think there's multiple realities? No, I don't think so.
The other one for you is what's the famous thing about chocolates from Forrest Gump?
Oh, that's.
Don't look at it. What is it?
I'm
Like
gonna
a
look
box
at
of
it.
chocolates, right?
What did you
That's
say?
what you mean?
Life's like a box of
Box of
chocolates.
chocolates.
So yeah, most people think it's life is like a box of chocolates, or life's like
No,
a box. But it's life
That's what I just
was
said.
like a box of chocolates.
No fucking
No,
shot.
Yeah.
there's no way.
It says was.
It was life is like.
Nope.
No.
It was.
I remember
Because
like
it's-
life
because-
is like a box of chocolates.
because when you think about it, he's telling
No.
the story, so he says life was. It's not life is. It's life was because
Yeah,
he's
but he
telling
was
the story.
telling the story, but
No,
he still
you
can say
you go
is.
you go back and
No.
watch it. And it
You're
says
wrong.
life was.
You're wrong. I watched that movie 1,000 times growing up.
Go and watch it again.
Not was. No.
It is.
No, because they changed it. They did it on purpose.
They did it in the year 2000.
They did it on purpose.
No, Skelter said it, so we're going to change it. It was. No, but like multiple realities. Do you really believe that there's like the same similar kind of stuff, but then a little bit changed in a different reality? Is that what
Yes.
you mean?
That's
So
what they're
like
saying.
life
yeah.
is like a box of chocolates in this reality, but in
This
another
was-
one
Well,
was.
no,
like
we're in a
box of
different one now. No, we're in a different one now.
Yeah, but
So
you're
it
saying in
changed
another.
midway
Yeah.
We're in now.
Yeah, it was something different. Yeah, before the year 2000.
No, I don't believe that. No shot. I did. No, I don't believe.
I don't think that we've switched. I think it is just one of these things of you hear something, you know, it's just like word of mouth, and you think
Like
that's what it is.
folktales type
Yeah, that's
things,
you
yeah.
think that's what it is, but it's not. And it's but because it's so close, because it's like, what's it? If you, I can't remember what there's something about like if you read a story, for example, but then you remove every like 2 or 3 letter word or something, you still read it perfectly because you don't, you know what you mean? You like
You don't need it.
It's
yeah,
the
you don't
same.
need it.
It's the same with like replacing letters for numbers,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that
Like
was
the
it.
E is a 7.
Well,
Like if you replace the E for a 7 and something like that, you will be still
still
able
read
to
it.
read the full story without hesitating because it fills in the blanks.
and the
That's
yeah,
what you mean, right?
and the and the other one is like if you put apparently as long as you keep the first and the last letter the same in a word, but you change the like order of the letters in the middle. So let's say others, you keep the O and the S there, but then you change like the H, the T, the R, and whatever the E around. You'll still read it if you're like skipping over.
And it's the same with like your brain corrects because
Yeah.
if you like you have a multiple sentences where it's like if you read the sentence the so it's
Yeah.
2 times the, but your brain will read it only once, and if you look back at it, it's hard to find, but you will like after a second or two you'll find the second the
Yeah.
in the sentence, and you'll think like, am I freaking stupid? But no, your brain literally blocks it out because it's not needed.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have 2 for you. This one, literally just saw this right now, and I feel like my head's gonna explode. Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio won his first Oscar award in 2016
Yeah.
for the movie The Revenant.
It was a good movie, by
But
the way.
I 1,000% remember because when I was young, I would
You would what? You cut
the
out.
Titanic.
Oh, Titanic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Mm.
I remember that.
No, you're crazy.
Yes,
He
it
never.
happened.
That's like the meme on the internet.
Yeah.
He
No,
never got
it's
an
woke.
award
That's what they're
or an
saying.
award before the Revenant.
Yep.
No way.
Mm,
And I actually 100% believe that
I
because
remember it.
No,
like
no, because it was
those
like
awards are. Yeah.
didn't like
You're
Kate
like a-
Winslet or something
you're
get
like a
one or
baby.
whatever for Titanic,
It's like a
but
baby. I'm still.
Yeah.
You were,
Men-
yeah, but you were still really young. Like I
Men-
was 12.
Do you want to know a
I-
little
I saw
dirty secret
Titanic
of
in the
mine?
movie theater.
I've never freaking watched Titanic.
What? Even Mia watched Titanic.
What even Mia? I don't care about Titanic. I've seen the good parts. It's fine. Like pay me like one of your French girls.
So you only saw the part where she was
Yeah.
naked. Okay, clearly
Yeah, and
that's
no,
it.
and on the bow, like the
Yeah.
iconic moment I've seen,
Yeah.
and that's
What?
it.
What about the Sinbad one? The Sinbad genie movie?
What?
I remember that. I remember watching that. Did you ever see that in the 90s? There was a movie that
Maybe.
had Sinbad in it, right? And he was a genie. But apparently that wasn't a thing. And it was actually the movie Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal. But I remember watching Sinbad as a genie.
Don't know.
I literally can't. I can't with these.
I never
can't.
seen that one.
No, I haven't
You
either.
never saw it?
No. But
Just-
I will
Alright.
100% tell you that I have seen, that I have known the meme and that Leonardo
yeah,
DiCaprio
I
never
know
won
that
an,
he never won an
Emmy
Oscar.
before
Yeah.
2016 for Revenant.
Yep.
And he should have gotten it, but he was
Mhm.
robbed for some reason. I don't know. But that's the whole. other
Yeah,
story.
going back to your thing, Cass, I don't think we've switched universes. Do I think there are multiple universes? Yes.
I
And-
think
don't
so
think
too,
we
but we
switched?
didn't switch. No.
Yeah, I don't think we switched, but thinking about just that there are multiple universes, and are we green in one, blue in one, red in one? Or do dogs actually own us, and we're actually pets to them in another one?
By the way, do you know
Like
that
Men
on
in Black.
Yeah.
this Earth, day and now, there's 3 exact copies of us that we we are never going to know.
What? Say that again?
There's 2 or 3 people on this Earth that exactly have the same genetics as us, look the same. Maybe not do the same job or whatever. That's like variable, but exactly look the same. But then grew up in a different country or whatever. But they exactly look the same. They have the exact same genetics as us.
I don't
Different
know,
parents.
because with the media the way it is, recognition, I feel like you would that would become a thing. Like
I don't know. There's a lot of countries in South Africa. There's a lot of countries in India. There's a lot of countries in Taiwan, Japan, even that don't have a cell phone.
Did you say there's a lot of countries in India?
South Africa, and there's a country like India.
It's late. It's late, and
It may be like 3 a.m. for
Yeah.
me when we record this.
Yeah, and there might be also alcohol involved. Just a little bit, yeah.
A little bit of love. No, but that's I read that somewhere. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory too, or it's a theory. But I thought I read somewhere that we share like 98% of our genetic markers with somebody else on this earth.
Obviously,
At least somebody
there
else.
are people out there who are remarkably similar to, like doppelgangers to yourself. Obviously, they've got different fingerprints and blood and whatever, but
Like
yes.
98% to measure out like the dental recognition and fingerprints, but the rest is the same.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like the job they do, or the country they born in, or the parents they grew up with are obviously different, unless you are a twin. But
Yep.
yeah. Did you break your chair or whatever?
I just found that I could move the armrest. I didn't realize. And then I couldn't get it back into position. It was just constantly moving.
Oh, that's
Good thing it moves that way and not
True.
that way.
True.
Anyway,
That's very true.
I think
something, but I'm like,
don't do it.
There's so many.
I know.
Oh my God.
I'm sure we will.
third
Yeah,
episode.
we can.
I have one too. Yeah.
We can do well. Yeah, I mean, I've got like another 4 or 5. So
Me too.
as long as as long as people are finding this entertaining, which I mean, they seem to be in general with the podcast. Ukraine. That episode is our new number 1.
Heck yeah.
Listened
Cool.
and watched on YouTube as well. So big
Wow.
Question of like the podcast.
Oh.
What is your favorite conspiracy theory?
Yeah. Oh God, they're going to be the ones that blow my mind.
Yep, I want to know too.
Yeah.
And then I can look further into it and blow my mind even further. That's nice.
Cat and yeah, right. We're gonna have to finish before Cassie's mind blows because I can see it like slowly. The smoke starting to come out of her ears.
I'm looking at all things from this Mandela Effect, and
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah.
I just want to explode.
Yeah. But anyway,
I'm exiting out right now.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for keeping tuned, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time again for another episode of Two Guys and the Blonde.
Almost. It's
Almost.
going there.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you very soon.